Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In Surah Qasas, verse 7, Allah says, وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمِّ مُوسَىٰ أَنْ أَرْضِعِهِ فَإِذَا خِفْتِ عَلَيْهِ فَأَلْقِيهِ فِي الْيَمِّ وَلَا تَخَافِي وَلَا تَحْزَنِي إِنَّا رَادُوهُ إِلَيْكِ وَجَاعِلُوهُ مِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. And the translation of this verse is, and we inspired to the mother of Musa, breastfeed him, but when you fear for him, cast him into the river, and do not fear, do not grieve. Indeed, we will return him to you, and we will make him one of the messengers. Now, while talking about Furqan and the manner in which Allah at times communicates with us in order to give us peace, in order to grant contentment in our hearts when we are facing a difficult test, sometimes when the nature of the test is too extreme for the person to bear, Allah will not only send consolation during the test, He will also send consolation before the test. And this is exactly what this verse is explaining. For a parent to lose a child is a very big test, but an even greater test is when parents are separated from their children. They know their child is alive, but they don't know where he is, what situation he is in. Does he have food to eat? Is he warm and comfortable? Is he facing any danger? That is the most extreme trauma for any person to have to experience. In this verse, Allah explains how Musa's mother would have to face this trauma. Knowing that the Pharaoh had given orders that all male infants should be killed, she was trying her best to save her son, while at the same time keeping him close. But Allah knew that eventually she will have to be separated from her child. She will have to place him in a basket, leave it to float on the river Nile, not knowing what would happen to him, a trauma that is too difficult for any mother to have to bear. So Allah placed this message in her heart, informing her that for now you can breastfeed the baby and keep it close, but when you fear for his life, place him in a basket, cast him into the river, and then she's being told, don't fear, don't grieve, he will be returned to you, and he is destined for something great. So here you can see words of consolation are being given even before the test has arrived. Even before the child has been separated from the mother. The message was just directly placed in her heart. She just knew that her son was destined to become a messenger and everything would be okay. But then after being separated, she started to grow impatient. Being a mother and knowing that her child was in the hands of the worst enemy, Firaun, the test became too much for her to bear. So while Musa was still an infant, Allah reunited mother and child to calm the heart of the grieving mother. So consolation came before the test and consolation came during the test. Now in contrast, there is another parent mentioned in the Quran who was separated from his child at an early age, Yaqub alayhi salam. But this time it's a father, not a mother. Even though the test was huge, being a father, Allah knew that Yaqub would be able to endure the severity of the test. Mothers have hearts that are too soft. They cannot be separated from their child for too long. So in the case of Yaqub, again you see Allah sent consolation before the test even arrived. But the nature of the consolation is now different. Allah does not send any message directly to Yaqub alayhi salam. Instead, the message of consolation goes to his son Yusuf in the form of a dream. When the dream is shared with Yaqub, Yaqub understands, just like Musa's mother understood, that my son is destined for something great. So when Yaqub alayhi salam was separated from his son, he grieved, he cried for years, but he did not go into depression. He knew his son was fine. He knew he would be reunited. He knew his son was directly being guided by Allah. And then, abiding by his promise, Allah did reunite father and son. But this time you see a much longer time period passed in which they were separated as compared to Musa's mother and her son. Because Allah knew that fathers have greater endurance than mothers. But then of course we could ask, what about Yusuf's mother? Wasn't the test too severe for her? Just like Musa's mother, Allah knew that Yusuf's mother would also grieve a lot for her son. But since her husband was a prophet, Yaqub alayhi salam, he would be able to console her and strengthen her. Musa's mother did not have that advantage. Her husband was not a prophet. So while Allah reunited Yusuf with his parents after years had passed, He reunited Musa with his mother almost immediately. So remember, Allah understands how severe the test is that He is going to send. He knows the condition of His slave. He makes sure that He provides the right kind of consolation at the right time so that the slave can endure the test and his heart doesn't break. Assalamu alaikum.